going on, guys? Mike Anderson here with Living Motion Monograms and the 1% Solution. Today we're going to be covering a little some tips and tricks on using your template number 49 of the static monograms. I've gotten a lot of requests about this as far as how it's the monogram design itself is done in gold, and people want to be able to change it to other colors and stuff. And so I'm going to show you guys a couple different ways we can do this. And I'm going to do it both in Photoshop CC and also Photoshop Elements as well. We're going to go ahead and start here with Photoshop Elements. Now, a couple things you're going to notice when we open up the file here is all of our layers on the right side here. Now, I wanted to point something out for you. You kind of notice that if you look at the design when you open up the template, one side on the right, top right here, is above the circle, and then on the bottom it looks like it goes behind the circle. Now this is just because I added in a little, basically a circle cover for on the left side. And if you come over to the right side and you see our layers here, one of them is labeled circle covered. If we turn that layer off, then all of a sudden the design itself is the font and the text is on top of the circle altogether. Now you can accomplish this pretty easily by just making sure that of course our text for the initial here is above our circle layer, and then you'll see that circle cover here. What we can do for now is, now that we've confirmed this is that layer, is that we can hit delete and just get rid of that. So we'll take that out for now. And the first thing I want to show you guys is how to change the color. So to change the color, it's pretty easy with text. You can always just double click on our T icon down with Photoshop Elements here. We can go down to the lower left and make sure we're on our tools option here. And then you'll see color here. So we're going to go white. We'll change that to white. And we're going to do that with all the rest of our text layers as well. Now you're going to notice that there's kind of still a gold outline to this. And the way that we can fix that is pretty easy. We're going to start again at the top with M, our initial. And if we double click on our FX icon here and open this up, we're going to come down here and you're going to see our different effects are basically our style settings. Now, if we just start to turn these style settings on and off, we're going to be able to see what is causing that gold outline. And we've got drop shadow here, and also bevel and emboss. So one of the things that's kind of unique and different, at least with Photoshop Elements, is that they do limit you to what effects and layer styles that you can use. So I want to see here what we're able to turn on and off. So glow is not active. If we turn off bevel, then we still see that gold outer glow. Now, if you're just going for white, because we don't have the layer effects to control that outer glow on there, what we can do is exit out of this and just hit cancel. Now, one of the easiest ways to do this, if you just want to do white, simply because we don't have the controls in Photoshop Elements that we do in Photoshop CC, or one of the kind of full-blown versions of the software, is just right-click on that layer, right at the T here, and we're going to select our clear layer styles. What that'll do is it'll just take out all the layer styles for that font itself, and we can do that for each one of these layers. That at least each one of the layers that has the text in it itself. Now you can also do this with our circle layer, which is just a circle itself. I mean, it's an image layer. And we can go clear layer styles. That'll turn it white. And then also our lines. So our lines are in our kind of lines folder. And if we open that up, then we can go to each line and select the first one, hold down your shift key and select the bottom one. It'll highlight them all. Right click and select the clear layer style. Now it'll turn everything to a white color, but also it's going to basically take out all the elements that we had incorporated into the design, as well as far as the layer styles. So we're losing our bevel and emboss and our drop shadow and stuff. If you want to add that stuff back in, it is really, really easy to do. We can condense our lines here. Let's start with our M. And maybe we want to add a little drop shadow in here. And we can do that just by going down to our effects, the lower at the bottom. It says show all, but what we want to do is go into, actually it's not effects, it should be our styles. There we are. And then you'll see bevels up here. So we could add a bevel onto this if we want. And this one here, kind of a nice one. And then if we do our drop down menu and we do drop shadows, then we can select which one might look the best on this. I like that one, which is our fourth one. Now that we've selected, we can go back and click our layers in the lower right. And the layers icon, I know I'm blocking it with my big head in this video, but it's in the lower right of your screen on the program itself. Let's see if I can adjust this so that you guys can see it. So right down here, we've got layers and effects, filters, styles. So all of our options. But once we have the M here, if we like this style, one of the things that we can do is just right click on that effects icon there. And, oh, it doesn't actually have it. So, oh, you have to right click on M, I think, or on the layer itself. You can do copy layer style. Let's go to our circle, right click on the layer again, and use paste layer style. And that'll add that kind of bevel to the circle itself as well. You can do the same thing with the lines. If you right click on just the folder, it'll add it to everything here. It doesn't allow you to add it to the group. So let's go ahead and do the same thing. Let's open up that folder with our little arrow. We're going to click on the top layer. Let's hold down shift to click on the bottom layer. Now you can right click on these and hit paste layer style. That'll give our bevel to the lines. Condense that again. And then if we want, we can select any other layers that we want to incorporate that onto. Let's say the rest of our text and paste layer style again. Now that'll gives us a white design with that bevel and emboss incorporated onto this. A couple other tips with this. If you wanted to actually do that effect where it looks like the design itself is on top on top of the circle on the top right, and then maybe behind the circle on the bottom left, easy way to do that is kind of a two-step process. Now to do this, it's going to be kind of a two-step process. The first thing we're going to want to do is we want to make sure that we're going to preserve exactly the way this circle looks with our layer styles incorporated into it. So let's go ahead and right click on our circle layer. And what I want to do is we want to look for simplify layer here. If we click on that, it's going to basically rasterize that layer so that all those elements you won't be able to edit them anymore, but it'll preserve everything exactly the way it is. Now with that layer selected, we can go over here to the top left and select our rectangular marquee tool. And what I want you to do is just highlight that area that you want to create a cover for. And if you hit Control C for copy and Control V for paste, it's going to actually add in, you can see how we've created a little cover. Now, first thing you want to do is actually remember we're working in layers. So with layers, we want to adjust this. We want this on top of the M, so we're going to take that. Maybe we'll relabel this by double clicking on it. We'll do this as the circle cover. And we want to drag this right on top and make sure it's above our M. Now you can see that it actually took that layer and put it right on top. Now on the top left, let's go ahead and take our move tool and select that. And using our arrows, we can actually bring this into place and just make your adjustments until it lines up. You may have to go up and down a little bit until you find the right spot where it lines up perfectly. But if you click on our background layer, and the closer you zoom in, the more you can actually see this. So I might have to make a little adjustment here. Come to the right and down. Right and down. Now, looks like it lines up pretty darn good. All right, so now we've got that little cover on there as well. So that's how you do it in Photoshop Elements. But let's go ahead and try that same thing over here with our Photoshop CC. Resize this so you guys can see. All right. Now we've got our layers off to the right side here. Remember, we're going to do much of the same stuff, except that with our Photoshop CC here, we've got a lot more options to choose from. Of course, we've got our circle cover. We want to go ahead and just delete that for now. And I didn't do this on the last one, but as an example, if say we wanted this, maybe this was an S, and that's something else to point out. You'll notice that like some of the different letters, especially with this font, which we're using the Pinion script on this, it may not be, you know, the S may not look like an S, and that happens sometimes. Some letters look better than others, and if that does happen and you want something, typically what I'll do is I'll come in here and just maybe type in script in our font. It'll bring up all of our script fonts, and I might look for something that looks a little bit better, something that looks more like an S. Like this one. Might make a little adjustment here. Make it a little bit bigger. There we are. And let's position it right. So now we've got an S up here. We still want to change the colors, so we can always double click on our T icon. At the top of the screen here, we're going to have our color picker. So we can turn that white. Let's do that with the rest of our fonts. And remember, fonts, your actual text is going to be, you're going to change the color differently than you are with our images like the circle and the lines. So now we've got our text. We still have that gold outline. So with the S, if we double click on the effects icon, it's going to pop up some different elements here. Now, one of the things we didn't have access to in the other one was our satin effect. And if we just click on that layer, you're going to notice that we've got our, you can see this is where that gold outline is. And if we turn that off, that gold outline basically is going to go away. So we can just simply do that with the S. We're going to go into the rest of our text, turn the satin layer off by unchecking it. That's going to get rid of that gold outline, but preserve our bevel and of course our drop shadow that we've already got implemented. We're going to go into our circle, and same thing. We can click on the effects icon. We're going to take out two things. So we've got color overlay and our satin. Now, if you'd like, you can also do the exact same thing where you right click on the layer and hit clear layer style. That'll work just as well. But it will take out the bevel. It will take out the drop shadow that you may have to add back in later. All right, now for our lines, same thing. We're going to go in, and we do kind of have to do this one at a time. Take out our color overlay and our satin. But once you do it on one, you can right click, copy layer style. Click on the next one, hold down shift and click on our bottom one. It'll highlight all three. Right click on those layers and hit paste layer style. Perfect. All right, so now let's go ahead and make our cover as well. We got our circle layer right here, so we're going to click on that and go up to our top left and select our rectangular marquee tool. And let's do a combination on this. So we're going to, you do have to make sure you got your circle layer selected, because that's what we want to. And don't forget, we're going to right click on that circle layer. And with this, we can go ahead, and it's labeled differently. But this actually will have rasterize layer style. Click on that. You'll notice the effects icon goes away. So let's select, it doesn't matter if you go onto the font here because we're not on that layer, but we want to make sure that this cover does completely cover all the area that we want. So say we do that and hit Control C, Control V, and we're going to label this circle cover left. Remember, we're going to drag that above our S. And I'll zoom in for you guys so you can see this. You'll see we've got our drop shadow and everything here. Let's go ahead and make our adjustments. Go to the right a little bit. Line those images up. And you'll notice that, like, the reason I rasterize that layer is because I want to preserve, you can't see it before, but there is a drop shadow on that layer because that, you know, the circle layer is sitting on black, and so that's why we're not actually seeing it. But now we can see that drop shadow, it preserved it, and it puts it right on top, so it gives it a nice 3D effect. Now, the S looks like it goes behind and then in front of the circle on this side. Let's do the same thing on the other one, because, well, we've got two areas here. Let's go in front, and then on this part, we're going to go, this will be our other layer. Copy, whoops. All right, so this is the layer area we want, but we want to select, make sure we've got our circle selected. Circle layer, Control C for copy, Control V for paste. Or if you're on Apple or Macs, then Command. And let's label this circle cover right. And we're going to drag that above the S as well. Let me zoom in here for you. Makes it easier to see what we're doing. And select our move. We're going to line these up. And you'll notice this kind of looks a little jaggedy here. It's okay. If we did want to clean that up, we can make sure we've got that layer selected and come over and grab our erase tool. Smaller. And then we can come in here and straighten this out a little bit if we want. It's so small, you're not going to notice it that much. But if you wanted a really nice straight line, we can select our polygonal lasso tool here. And let's kind of create a nice straight line. Remember, we're just working with this layer, so everything else won't be affected. Once we connect the dots, we hit delete, it gives us a nice straight line. All right, now let's zoom out and see how that looks. Not bad. And then at that point, don't forget, save this as maybe a different, you know, a different name. On the next tools update, which will hopefully be out in about 3 weeks, I'm gonna be releasing 20 new designs for you guys, and This one will also be in there as white, so all the work will be done for you already, in case just to make life easy. But we could label this as 49 HD and white. Do something like that. All right. And that way we have a white template set up for you. Well, I hope that's helped you guys out. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below, and I will get to answering those as well. Appreciate you guys watching the video, and if you liked it, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Hit that bell icon next to the subscription so that you get notified whenever we do new uploads or live streams. And if you have any ideas that you want covered in a future live stream or video, also leave it in the comment section below, and we'll get working on it right away. Thanks so much, guys. See you on the next video.